If a part of your business is to generate phone appointments with potential clients, but it's not going too well, you're getting hit with no after no, you're getting hit with let me think about it, and you're finding the conversations really hard, you're probably missing this one critical ingredient to your sales funnel. Most people miss this. They focus on traffic, they focus on the funnel pages, they focus on the content, but then there's one piece they miss before they get someone on the phone, and it can make or break the sale. I want to share that with you right now, and then I'm going to break down every single component that you need so that you can do the same thing. So firstly, what is it? Well, it's essentially a step where you are further qualifying the prospects before you actually get them on the phone. It's one thing to find the right people on social media. It's another thing to take them through a sales funnel and provide value and build their interest. It's another thing to get them booked on a phone call with you. But then if you are going straight on the phone with every single person that's interested to speak with you, you've missed a critical qualification step. And that is that they should actually be applying to speak with you. You're probably positioning the phone call right now in such a way where the prospect feels like they're the ones holding all the cards. They're jumping on the phone with you to interrogate you about your coaching program, and then they will decide if they want it. We need to flip that. We need it to feel like the prospect is applying to speak with you, that there are some hoops to jump through, there's some steps that they need to take. It's not just you get to book onto my calendar, but I need to make sure that I like what I'm hearing about you before we even get on the phone. So what I do in all of my sales funnels is after a prospect books a call, I take them to a dedicated application page, and I position it as follows. I say, hey, thanks so much for booking your call. It's really important for us to hit the ground running and for me to understand a bit about you and what you've got going on before we speak. So there's a few questions below me. Go ahead and fill that out. I'm going to take a look through that before we speak, and that's going to give me a really good heads up, and hopefully I can do a bit of thinking about your situation before we speak. This form is so important that if you don't fill it out, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go ahead and cancel your call. Now, I will obviously go on and extend on that. Maybe the video would end up being a couple of minutes, but that's the positioning on the application page. So the prospect must fill it out. Now, here's the kicker. I really will cancel calls if they don't fill out the form. So if somebody just books a call on my calendar and they do not fill out the application form, me and my team do not speak to those leads. And it's for one simple fact. If somebody is not willing to take 2 minutes and fill out a quick questionnaire, they are not the type of person that's going to give you thousands of dollars for your coaching programs on the phone. So it's such a helpful qualification step, just that alone. Are they willing to follow instructions? Or are they not? We save so much wasted time there by canceling those calls. And then once they fill out the form, we take a look through the answers to the questions. And if we don't like the answers, we will politely, but still nonetheless, cancel the call. If there's too many red flags in there and there's things that just make us feel this is not the right type of prospect for us, then we will go ahead and cancel the calls. So that's the idea, that's the concept. Now I want to share with you exactly what questions I ask, because the way you ask these questions and exactly what you're asking is critical, because it's a qualification step. So we need to ask the right things to get a really good indication as to whether they're a good prospect for us to be speaking to. So let's dive into the laptop, and I'm actually going to share with you what these questions are. I've got 9 questions, and each of them are designed to achieve a certain outcome, and I'll share with you as we go through. So first question, I just ask for their name, really nice and simple. Next question, I ask for their email. Third question, I ask for their phone number. Now, why have I done that? Why have I asked for 3 simple bits of information that would be quite quick? It's for us to get what we call micro commitments, okay? In marketing, when there's a bigger task that we need someone to perform, whether it be purchase your program, that would be the biggest one, or in this case, fill out a form, if I have all of the questions listed, one underneath the other, that looks quite daunting, it looks quite big. So we want to break them up into individual questions. And furthermore, I want to get something called a micro commitment. And a micro commitment is, once say I can get them to answer the first question, they're far more likely to answer the second. And if I can get them to answer the second, they're far more likely to do the third, and so on and so forth. So I'm leading them through the form step by step, and I'm strategically asking really simple questions in the beginning that require no thinking, no thought. They can just give me their name, email, and phone number. And so before you know it, we're into question 4, and now I've really hooked them. Now if I start to get to some slightly more difficult questions, they're going to be far more likely to fill out the form. So the micro commitments continues here, and I'm going into a multiple choice question. Okay, I am going to start asking some questions later on in this form that require them to actually type out an answer and give me some information. But I want to continue this theme of micro commitments to get them even further in. So my first main question is just a multiple choice, but it's a really helpful one. When I'm qualifying leads that are looking to book calls with us, I like to use a bit of a traffic light system, yeah? Green, amber, and red. And everything on the form is going to really come together to paint a picture of whether this lead falls into green, amber, or red. And if it's green, I'm going to speak to them. If it's amber, I'm not so sure. We've got some thinking to do. And if it's a red, it's a guaranteed cancellation. So with this question right here, I literally say, which best describes your situation? And you need to, and of course I would as well, write out 3 descriptions, 3 potential descriptions of your client avatar so that they can tick one that best describes them. And you want to have one that is an ideal client for you. You want to have a description that's kind of meh, somewhere in the middle. And you want to have a description that does not describe your potential client. So number 3 would be green in this case. If they were to tick this one, that would sound really, really good. And it's because the description needs to be that they've been struggling for a while and they are absolutely desperate for a solution. That's the type of people that I want to work with. So number 3, if I was to write this out, I might say something like, I've had my coaching company for 3 years now. I'm making some sales, but it's not consistent. And I'm desperate to make this thing work and to scale the business. Okay, that's a pretty good description of a client for us. So going slightly further down the track now to number 2, a description that's not quite as good as that might be someone saying, I've had my idea for my coaching company. I launched a sales funnel, but I still feel quite confused. Okay, I mean, that we might be able to help that person, but it doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound as good as the third. And the first one, I'm going to describe someone who's very new and not very serious. So the first description might be, I'm brand new to coaching. I like the idea, but I have no idea what I'm doing, right? So it's like, okay, you're very fresh, you're very new, don't really like the sound of that. So by presenting those 3 options, I allow them to tick the one that best describes them. That's our first question that's giving us an indication as to whether they're a qualified prospect or not. Then the next question, question 5, is the first time I'm going to give them the chance to type back to me and actually reply to the question. And the question is, please describe in your own words what you're struggling with the most right now and how it's affecting your quality of life. So this is where they get a chance to give me some detail. Explain to me, what have you got going on? What's the deal? And what I'm looking for is detail. And I'm looking to hear some pain in the words. I'm looking to hear some goals in the words. Like if I start receiving 1-word answers here or very short words like need more clients, if someone was just to type need more clients, that would be a potential cancellation because my data shows that people that answer this form with simple answers like that, they typically don't buy the coaching on the phone. It's a really helpful indicator, they're just not very serious. Whereas someone who is serious typically gives us a nice little paragraph or maybe at least a long sentence. They've actually spent a bit of time on it, they've given some thought to it. So that's number 5. Number 6, and this is a really important one, what do you want to achieve from working with me? What's the big goal or the outcome? So I'm asking them for their goal, right? And for me, I'm helping coaches to scale their businesses. So I want to see big goals. I don't want to see answers like, I'd like to add an extra $1,000 a month to my business. That's not a big enough goal, right? Someone who's looking to add an extra $1,000 a month to their business is probably not going to invest in my $30,000 coaching. You with me? So I need to see big goals, 20,000, 30,000 a month type goals. But also I've positioned the fact that this phone call is to speak to me about potentially working together. Remember I said at the beginning of the video that many of you are booking calls and these people are not serious and it hasn't been positioned that this is an application, right? Whereas I'm continuing that theme right here in this question. What do you want to achieve from working with me, okay? Just the fact that they answer that question, subconsciously they're agreeing to the statement that they want to work with you. It's quite a powerful little line, but it's really simple to deploy. Then we've got question 7. Now question 7 is where we want to get a bit of an idea for their financial situation. We're probably not going to find out everything, and we certainly don't want to be saying things like, my coaching is $10,000, can you even afford that? Or my coaching is $10,000, is that even possible for you? If not, there's no point in us speaking. To go that far to qualify them financially, it would be a mistake. We've tested this, we've tried this, and every time we've done that, we've seen what we call our application completion rate, we've seen that go down. Well, what is that? It's the amount of people that actually complete this form. And what we found was that people were getting stuck at that question. As soon as we reveal how much our coaching costs, the prospect is making a buying decision right there on your application form. They're now deciding if they actually want to speak with you, knowing how much it is, and they might go, oh yeah, no, I don't like the sound of that much. And so then they abandon the application and then they don't show up for the phone call. Whereas, if you didn't reveal how much your coaching cost and you ended up on the phone with them, you might really hit it off with them. And then when they hear your price, they might go, oh, you know what, that is a lot, that is expensive, but I really like this conversation I've just had with John and I think I'd like to do it. So they need to be sold on that price, not just slapped on an application form, but we do need to get an indication of their financial situation. So what I like to ask is this: do you have the financial resources to invest in coaching or training if what I have is exactly what you need to fill in the blanks? What is the desire that they want? And you can put that there. And then I have 3 multiple choice options there. I say, yes, I have money to invest in finding a solution. If someone ticks that, they're typically in a good financial place. They wouldn't tick that unless they were quite confident that they had the funds. They don't know how much your coaching is, but we're just looking for an indication. The second is, yes, I can access money to invest in finding a solution. So that would indicate that they could maybe take out a loan, a credit card, a family member that can help, or they've got some savings. And then the third one is, no, I cannot invest in myself right now. And of course, as you've probably already picked up by now, that would be a red flag for us and we would probably cancel that call. No point in us speaking to someone who is making it clear they don't have money to invest. So that's a really, really helpful question. Question 8. I asked the prospect to give me a star rating from 1 to 10, depending on, how desperate they are for a solution, really. What we have found is for people to invest in coaching, particularly high ticket coaching, they've got to be in a position where they're very desperate for a solution. If there's no deep pain, if they're not really desperate, they're not going to invest in coaching. So we say, finally, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being, I'm not very serious about, fill in the blanks. And 10 being, I'll do whatever it takes to fill in the blanks. And wherever they're at in this star rating, again, is helpful for us to either say, yep, they're a green application, I want to speak to them. They're somewhere in the middle, that's an amber. Or they've got a really low score here, that's an instant cancellation. Because if they give you a 1 or a 2, if they're really not that serious about finding a solution to the problem, they're not going to invest in coaching and the phone call will be a waste of time. And then we have one final question, it's question 9, and I really like this one. Anything else you feel I should know? Now, we've asked some strategic questions that we want to know, but they haven't had a chance to just tell us something else that they might wish to tell us. You can find out some really interesting stuff about people with this question. Typically, a good lead, a good prospect would just say something to the extent of, nope, all good, just looking forward to our call. That's the kind of response that we're looking for. But in case you didn't already know, if you hadn't figured this out already, the internet is full of complete whack jobs, okay? They are all over the place, and sometimes they slip through the cracks. And by whack job, I just mean someone who is genuinely pretty crazy, right? And they're gonna come through this form, they're gonna answer these questions, you're not gonna have understood that they're not a good prospect for you, and then you're going to end up on the phone with someone who's a really tricky person to speak to. They're certainly not going to be signing up for coaching, and they're very hard to get off the phone. So this final question gives you that chance to find out if someone is a little bit cuckoo or if they're okay. And we've actually saved ourselves quite a number of phone conversations where everything else on the form looked pretty good. And then in this final question, they wrote us an absolute novel, and in there were some really, really weird things. Okay, I've got some stories I could tell you. Maybe I'll save them for another time. So it's a helpful question to just give them a chance to say anything else that they want to, and you might find out that there's something weird in there that will save you a conversation. So now you know the 9 questions you need to be asking before you speak to someone on the phone. You might want some help with getting more of these appointments. I've got an amazing marketing system that I use that floods my calendar with hot prospects every single day. It's a webinar funnel, but with a twist, and I'm going to teach you all about it in this video up here. So click over there, check that one out. I hope you find that helpful. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We put out great new content every single week, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.